How to dress like a Parisian woman, borrowing classy style tips from the French. If you, like me, love French style but are wondering how to make the look work in your own everyday outfits, then this video should help. Today I'm sharing 9 style tips of how to dress like a Parisian woman, borrowing all those understated yet really classy style tips from the French. Delving into not only what they typically wear for work, rest and play, but how you can achieve those really beautiful looks with a small yet perfectly formed amount of capsule wardrobe pieces. Plus, I have one very beautiful piece from Jenny Kane, which is really elevating my spring-summer wardrobe to perfection. So let's begin. The polished middle. Now, French women are notoriously picky about trends and often actually avoid them altogether. In fact, when you do see Parisians wearing a current fashion trend, they've often given the look such an original spin that it barely looks like they've followed a fashion trend at all. And this is something that I personally really admire. Now, I've mentioned it before, but I do prefer not to go full on head to toe in any given fashion trend, no matter how much I might like it. It just doesn't feel very natural for me or actually have much longevity for my wardrobe either. So perhaps I have subconsciously got this tip ingrained in my head thanks to the French. Now, Parisian women, and I am having to generalize here, aren't exactly casual with their outfit ideas either. You'll rarely see them sporting the super oversized look or wearing anything too slouchy for that matter as well. So it's about finding that sweet spot of something super trendy and something super extravagant and opting for that understatedly polished point somewhere in the middle. The basic mix. Now, while I could wax lyrical about the importance of adding in quality over quantity any day of the week, I think the proof is very much in the pudding when we look at Parisian women's style. The French just do seem to be born with an understanding that having those high quality basics will always benefit your outfit ideas. So this is one style tip that I thankfully cottoned on to quite early on. Now, there's 2 ways that you could twist this style tip on any given day actually. The first being mixing high quality pieces alongside your basics. So let's say you've got a really classic yet affordable simple white t-shirt. Taking that style tip from the French, we could then layer over the top with a really high quality classic piece like a trench coat, and voila, my outfit suddenly looks so much more elevated and, as luck would have it, a little bit Parisian as well. And this theory works no matter which kind of basic you use. A staple jumper, add the high quality mix, and again it makes the outfit as a whole feel so much more put together. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed and you like my outfit ideas, it would be very much appreciated if you'd like to. I've added a link in the description box below for you to be able to do that after this video. The basic mix with a statement. And the other favourite option I see a lot would be to switch out that high quality classic piece for something statement instead. So if we go back to that simple t-shirt example to illustrate my point a bit better, and this time instead I'm going to add in this fairly statement looking blazer. And yet again, as you can see, the minute I layer that over the top, it not only makes the outfit feel more cohesive and put together, but it gives the look a little bit more punch, so to speak. Now, another way you could really easily do this as well would be with a statement handbag. Take this outfit idea that I did a little mock-up of. Now, yes, all those elements are really basic, high quality staples, but they're not ones that would break the bank either. I think it looks nice, but it's definitely missing a little special something. So then when I add in that brilliant pop of red with a statement handbag, the outfit just instantly makes sense. It feels polished, it looks put together, and undeniably French all at the same time. Now, once you get used to these basic mixes, you can then start to experiment a little bit more and add in matching shoes or maybe a headscarf that's either a classic or a statement, or even as you get really familiar with this particular style tip, you can venture out and do a little bit of both. One colour. Now, of course, an easy way to make your outfits feel very classy, elegant and chic, whether you're going for Parisian style or not, would be to make your outfit all one colour. And as luck would have it, something I chose this month at Jenny Kane fits the bill perfectly. Now, lots of you know I feel very honoured to be an ambassador for this stunning Californian brand. Their understated luxury aesthetic really just suits my style to a T. And this dress, I think, really sums up the brand actually. Now, it's been made from 100% 100% linen and has that very soft kind of lived-in feel. It's one of their classic best-selling pieces, and I believe it's because it does and it says everything you need for that perfect spring-summer dress. Made from a beautiful fabric, it has that little bit of detailing with the pocket at the front here, tailoring with those gentle pleats just coming off the waistband, sleeves that aren't too long or too tight either as we move into those warmer summer months. And I love how it nips in at the waist, just giving me a very subtle hourglass silhouette, and then of course it falls out into that fairly wide skirt portion. And remembering that one colour style tip, of course a very easy way to do that would be to simply go for a dress. It's one item in one colour and you don't have to think any more about it. And some of you might remember actually, I had the khaki version from last summer too. Proof actually that I loved it so much that I went for it again in the white. Now the khaki is a really lovely shade. I think they've got that one spot on, which is not easy to do. It's not too dark or too green. Again, it's just that vintage inspired linen khaki, which I think is really subtle and something I really warm to. From Jenny Kane's women's collection to their men's, their children's clothes, and her very dreamy homeware, it's one brand that does genuine effortless style so very naturally. It's always an absolute pleasure to share their pieces with you all. Just from the dresses alone actually, over on their website, I want the Cove dress, the Drift dress, and I've got the garden dress on my wish list. So there's definitely a lot of beautiful pieces to choose from. So please do click the link at the end of this video and take a look at the new Jenny Kane collection for spring 2024. And of course, if you do decide to shop, please feel free to use my discount code FASHION15. Just a quick reminder, I am currently in the midst of doing my 75 hardstyle challenge over on my page. 75 spring summer outfit ideas for the next 75 days. I've added a link below if you'd like to follow along, and it would be really lovely to see you there too. The one tailored rule. How to dress like a Parisian woman? Remember the one tailored piece rule. Now this is such a simple style tip, but as is often the case, the simple ones are often the best. French women invariably have one tailored item within any given outfit idea. So for example, if I'm wearing this really basic t-shirt dress, I could just very simply layer a tailored blazer into the combination, and suddenly I've given it a very polished and very slightly French vibe. Maybe you're wearing something soft and silky, you could then finish with something tailored. Maybe you run out of time to dress up after the gym, add something tailored over the top. Even thinking back to that basic jeans and a t-shirt look will obviously work with this style tip too, and is probably the most common look that I'd personally reach for on a day-to-day basis. A tailored blazer is mostly my favorite go-to item when it comes to this particular style tip, but of course a tailored coat or trousers would work equally well too. I would just make a little bit of a selection in your wardrobe of those very obviously quite tailored pieces, and then all you have to do is simply remember to add just one into your outfit ideas when you're wanting to create a typically French look. Two colours. And thinking about adding in that tailored piece, it's really worth bearing in mind that French women, generically speaking here, rarely introduce more than two colours into one outfit idea. Now they're not afraid of colour at all, far from it actually, but there is that general vibe of simplicity to their outfits. A little bit of less is more, I suppose, within their looks. So for instance, if they're going to add in one of the big fashion trends this season with say a pop of red, but like we said before, not because it's a trend, but because they like it, we often see that added in say just against navy or perhaps camel. And actually this would be one of my new favourite outfit ideas and colour combinations as it happens, wearing this new in red cardigan against my light camel trousers. But I do really love those two tones together, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Now on top of that colour combination, I've also managed to introduce that tailored element with those trousers and that defined press crease down the front. My accessories, as you can see, are very minimal, but they're intentional. And if you fancy going the full Parisian hog, I would just simply go with a red lipstick to match. Obviously, the two colour rule is not limited to red and navy or red and camel, but the world is quite literally your oyster when it comes to choosing the shades you want to go for. I would just make sure you focus on the other tips from before when choosing the colours to add into your own wardrobe, thinking about quality, tailoring, classics and high quality staples, and the tone itself is almost secondary great in importance. Forever stripes. Now, I think it's nigh on impossible to create a video about French style and not at least briefly mention stripes. The Coco Chanel classic that has been reimagined over the years in every possible iteration. A striped Breton or a mariniere is of course a classic, and I must admit that I do have a wee bit of an obsession with them myself. But if there's one piece that just instantly makes your outfit look and feel, as it happens, a little bit more Parisian without breaking the bank, stripes are the perfect go-to. Now, over recent years, it's also become easier and easier to add the look into your wardrobe, whatever your budget might be. From chic for less options at H&M, organic cotton at Cézanne, something slightly heavier at Arket or perhaps COS and other stories, and of course then a whole variety of pieces to choose from the high-end designers. For spring, I shall be styling stripes something like this. Choosing striped items that not only feel very classic and timeless within their shape, but are pieces that I know I will have in my wardrobe forever. Overdone. Now, if there's one thing that Parisians or French women are not, it would be overdone. In fact, if anything, I would describe their style as decidedly understated. But the interesting thing that I've realized over the years is that although their style is very discreet, it's well thought out to look that way. They're often the first to admit that their outfit ideas are carefully thought through, not simply thrown together. But of course, that's often the way, isn't it? A no makeup look can actually take far longer than something a little bit more glam. There's actually quite an art to getting the undone look right. Now, I personally love a very understated kind of style, and that's whether I'm trying to look a little bit more Parisian or not. It's just how I feel the most comfortable in my own outfit ideas. But the little details I would concentrate on would be minimal jewelry, minimal makeup, and of course, natural hair. I would also say stick to one type of hardware, i.e. does the buckle on your belt match the hardware on your handbag? I would opt for subtle shoes that you could walk all day in as opposed to super high showstoppers that you'd have to kind of totter around in. And a great one for the fellow flat-chested ladies out there, cleavage is rarely on show either. The unsaid is far sexier with this really understated style. Now, if you're usually quite a loud dresser as such, but are really wanting to emulate this look, I would say dial it back 5 notches or so. Think about like red lipstick or smoky eyes, for example, instead of adding both, and you should be on the right track. Sealed with a red kiss. Now, the exception to that not overdone style tip would be adding a red lip, the epitome of a typical French look if ever there was one. But there's even subtle differences that I've noticed with this simple trick that can actually make all the difference. Now, you might have noticed when French women do wear red lipstick, it always seems to look really understated at the same time. Now, that's not only down to the shade of red they use, but also what's happening with the rest of their makeup. Simply going for your usual full face of makeup and then adding a red lipstick is going to look pretty overdone in the end. But what I've noticed is that Parisian women do instead keep the rest of their makeup very, very simple. So I could still use my foundation, but I'd go very, very minimal with my powder. A little glowing shine on your cheeks is definitely a good thing. Let your natural skin color peek through. But I would personally say go with the bare minimum on your eyes, almost glossy, natural eyelids. One, that's going to really make that red lipstick pop out even more. And two, you're not going to have those contrasting colors on your eyes competing for attention against your lip. Keeping the rest of your makeup super natural and glowing just tames the addition of the red lipstick, and thus then becomes something we see French women wear on an everyday basis. One more style tip with this as well, actually, which I noticed I do today, and I think I do it subconsciously, would be to really blot down your red lipstick. So I really don't like to see quite a line edge of my lips. I'll blot down quite heavily with a tissue over the line because it almost wants to look like you've been wearing it from the night before and you just woke up like that, even if we thought it through quite well. Branded. How to dress like a French woman, whatever the season? Don't worry where any of your clothes from, or indeed how much they cost. It's not about that whatsoever. I would personally focus on quality, shape and fit any day of the week over a designer label. And actually, the least brands on show, the better when it comes to this particular look. You might and probably could pick up a gorgeous and beautifully made trench coat in your local secondhand store, and that could absolutely become one of your classic basics for your French looks. Whether that item originally came from Burberry or even an unknown seamstress from the 40s, say, is irrelevant. It's how it looks and how it makes you feel that's the most important. So when thinking about about borrowing a few classy style tips from the French, freeing yourself of the need for labels can actually feel really liberating. We rarely see French women dripping in logos, and that is actually one of the reasons that I like their style so much. They don't look any less elegant or any less put together. In fact, quite the opposite actually. On the whole, their style is incredibly elegant and chic, but it's that nonchalance and that confidence of knowing they look good with or without a designer handbag that's actually quite infectious. It kind of rubs off on you. So it's that spirit that I personally will always try and tune into for my own outfit ideas. So while yes, we might see the odd Chanel handbag or two, they never appear the star of the show. The woman herself is the main event. The handbag is merely an accessory. Which neatly brings me to confidence, something French women on the whole do not seem to lack, or at the very least they don't seem to show that they're lacking. And getting that nonchalant confidence is something that feels inherently Parisian, so it's definitely worth trying to channel. However, I know this is something that a lot of women struggle with, and whatever age you are, it isn't an easy one to crack, but I do have some handy tips which will hopefully help. Now, I've mentioned this before, but it's definitely worth repeating. Fake it until you make it. Now, at first thought, this does sound a little bit superficial, but I really don't mean it like that. Instead, I mean try and get yourself into the zone of imagining you are that super confident French woman in the room, almost like you're an actress. So for instance, sometimes I might go to an event and I don't know anyone and I might feel a little bit awkward and self-conscious. So I have this thing where I try and zone out of that, and instead I pretend that I'm that super confident person socially that I wish I could be. And just having that in your head can actually make the world of difference. You just find yourself striking up conversations with strangers when perhaps you'd normally wait to be spoken to. And if you force yourself to do it often enough, eventually you start doing it without even thinking about it. Another nice idea is to share the confidence a little bit too. Instead of being frightened to speak in, say, an office setting, why not take the initiative to compliment your fellow females? You could point out their lovely jeans that they're wearing, or the top or the blazer. You will no doubt, of course, make them feel nice and give them a little bit of a spring in their step. And on top of that, it's just an easy way to be able to strike up a conversation with someone new. Compliments from men are all well and good, but it's the ones from fellow women that I think we all value the most. Now, if you're really not comfortable with any of these approaches, at the very least, hold your head up high and remember the mantra: shoulders over hips over heels. Stand tall, command your own presence, and as subtle as you like, let it be known that you've arrived. Borrowing this style tip from the French doesn't mean that you need to be the most talkative person in the room to be interesting. I think it's actually the quiet ones anyhow who have the most to say. How to dress Parisian? Hopefully you now feel you have all the style tips and tricks you need to create a few French feeling looks for yourself. It's actually really fun playing with your own style, so I really hope you enjoy trying out some of these ideas, and of course that you stumble across some lovely looks that make you feel good. Don't forget to take a look at that stunning spring collection from Jenny Kane. The link, as always, is in the description box below. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I shall see you on Sunday. Take care.